thank you. So first order of business, meeting minutes from our prior meeting, September 27th. Does anyone on the commission have any comments or questions? Any public comment? I'll make a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Item 4, consent agenda. Nothing on consent this evening, so we'll move into item 5, new grading permits. Do we have anyone from 829 Meemar Road with us tonight? Good evening. So if you could just come up, put your plans on the table. There's a mic right there. Just introduce yourself, the project, and we'll ask you a few questions. Thank you.
Okay, we are building a in-ground concrete.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike Nealio from Anthony and Sylvan Swimming Pools. We're building an in-ground concrete swimming pool, 20 by 40 rectangle, 800 square foot. Just a coping edge, actually no patio, and a small retaining wall with the elevation in the yard. In our access construction route off of the driveway, you'll see we are installing the required stone construction entrance, which is required by the township. We've blocked off our access to the pool on both sides of the access from the driveway is going to be the required 6-foot-high chain link temporary fence to block off the access and designate the access route. There also will be silt fence installed down the one side, the right side of the access, and obviously on the back of the pool itself. There's no trees coming out of this property. The only trees that are close is there's a couple smaller trees by the access near the driveway, and then on the north side property line away from the pool, there's a few trees there, but not really affected by the construction itself. And the 6-foot-high temporary chain link will be acting as the tree protection barrier from those group of trees so that nobody's driving near those. I think the closest one is about 10 feet from that 12-inch tree right near the property line and the construction entrance. And that's it.
Great. Thank you for that overview. I don't have any specific questions. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, we noticed that the shade tree protection wasn't on the plan, but it doesn't need, I don't think it needs to be, given that the fencing that they're proposing is going to do the same thing or better.
Yeah, I think it acts as both purposes of the construction route and also tree protection. So, and it's the 6-foot-high chain link, so that's what we require as tree protection. So I don't see any issue with that. Okay. Anyone else? Any public comment? All right. I'll make a motion to approve. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
I do have a question, if you don't
Yes.
mind, in reference to the process.
Mm-hmm.
Is every grading permit required to come in front of the shade tree regardless of impervious being added, or what?
So there are certain triggers. So it's cubic feet of dirt. If there's certain excavation, if there's certain number of trees, there's a checklist on the township website.
Does the board review each case beforehand or not? Because I've had instances where the township has gotten back to us and said, for pools, because that's what I do, you don't need to come in front of the shade tree for this.
Yeah, township reviews it. So because the amount of dirt that you're moving,
Yes.
that was the trigger to come before us.
Right.
And we do have a consent process, but if there's any question, then we have you come in and
Right.
just double check everything. All
Just
right?
wondering. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. All right, do we have anyone from 301 Beech Tree? Good evening. So we have a new family dwelling, 10 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 0 trees to be removed. If you could introduce yourself, the project, we'll ask you a few questions. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mike Rokosny from Site Engineering. So this is Lot 13 of the Radnor and Eagle Road subdivision. The lot is approved as a overall 18-lot plan, and the E&S is following that overall approved subdivision. The tree replacement is also coming from that approved subdivision plan. It's the landscape plan dated July 9th, 2021, last revised March 2nd, 2022. The only change that we're proposing here are there's 4 trees along this sidewalk that in the field they started constructing the stormwater basins, and there is some utility conflict, so we're just shifting 4 of the trees away from that conflict. But the tree replacement and removal is still in accordance with the original proposed plan.
And by moving, you just mean the new trees?
Just shifting the proposed trees a few feet off of the utility line just because of the conflict in the field.
So 0 trees to be removed because the trees that were removed were from the larger plan?
Yes, there's a clearing permit that was already enacted.
So no net new trees or any additional trees being removed?
Nope, it's still following that same original plan.
Okay,
It's just part of the grading permit process.
you got it. Okay, I don't think I have any further questions. Any others? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks. I have the next one as well.
Perfect. All right, so next one, so 950 Parks Run Lane, garage and pool, 10 cubic yards of dirt to be excavated, 1 tree to be removed.
Yes, I could just start again, just reintroduce myself.
You're good.
This is 950 Parks Run Lane. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing garage and construct a new proposed garage or detached garage with a supporting driveway and a proposed pool. Stormwater is provided for the improvements. The grading is causing us to have to remove 1 10-inch birch tree. It's our interpretation of the code that 1 tree does not trigger replacement.
Correct.
This is just the grading permit is what brought us to the shade tree requirements.
Sure. As far as access in and out of the site for the pool construction, could you just walk us through that and then also point out any tree protection fencing?
So we're proposing a rock construction entrance if the clearing on the existing driveway is ineffective. That would bring your access back to where the proposed driveway is and then through the rear of the site. Mm-hmm. There's some existing trees and shrubs that we wanted to protect, so that's why we put the construction access on that side as opposed to taking the shorter route. We're showing tree protection fence around all the existing trees within 25 feet of the limit of disturbance. There's some tree protection fence down here as well.
Yep.
And over here, so trying to protect every existing tree. It's just the one to get the grading away from the pool.
Right. How much elevation change will the pool introduce as far as backfill is concerned?
I believe that they are trying to balance the cut and fill, and then any excess would be taken off of the site.
Got it. My only concern is that big, I can't see the DBH, but that big, yep.
The 54-inch oak. Yeah, we're not proposing any grading.
Near
Our
there.
limit
Okay.
of disturbance stops outside of the drip line.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm sure the homeowners want to keep that thing just as much as we do. So.
Yep.
Sounds good. Okay. I don't have any further questions. Anyone else?
Question, sorry.
Mr.
The tree that's getting removed, what size is that?
10-inch.
Okay, thanks.
Any public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you. And off to the next one. 201 South Spring Mill Road, driveway. Looks like cubic yards of dirt. We need that number, but 24 trees proposed to be removed.
Hello. One more. The last one, you'll see me that. So this is 201 South Spring Mill Road. The applicant is proposing to remove a portion of their existing driveway patio area, construct a small addition, and then reconfigure the existing driveway. The applicant is looking to just clean up the lot. They feel that it's overgrown and they're just trying to, restore it back to a usable condition. They had a tree survey and study done by Marielle LaFair that deemed several of these trees to be invasive, and then 3 of the trees shown with these red boxes are dying or in decay. So we're in total removing 26 trees. 3 of them are dead or dying, 9 of which are invasive. So in total, there's 14 non-invasive trees that we'd be removing. This would require us to plant 16 replacement trees, and 2 of which would be large canopy. Since the lot is very overgrown and the applicant is looking to clear up some space and provide some room for the existing trees to grow, they're looking to pay a fee in lieu for the tree replacement.
Okay, so a couple things. One is for the hazards, what we would need is a hazardous tree report
Okay.
to be filled out by the company of which did the survey.
Is that a standard Radnor form, or can they provide their own?
No, standard form. You can reach out to the township, and it's on the website too. You should be able to find it pretty easily. And then also, as far as invasives go, there are certain species that we exclude from the total count, but just because they are invasives doesn't mean we exclude them from our count per se. So like ash trees, for instance, those are excluded because they're in decline.
Yes, a portion of these are ash trees.
So if some of them are ash trees, then they should still be indicated, but they can be excluded from the replacement formula. So those are 2 initial items that would need to be taken care of. And then I'm just looking at your tree replacement calculation. It's on page 1 towards the bottom, or page 3
cut off here.
if you're in the PDF, yeah.
So this would be not excluding the ash trees, so what we'd be indicating would be a higher fee in lieu, and then we can revise once it's time to
Right,
actually go pay that fee.
right. So outside of those details, if you could just walk us through the access to the construction and tree protection.
Yeah, so it will be similar to the last project, installing a stabilized construction entrance if they cannot clean on the existing driveway. And then there's tree protection fence shown in front of the house and anything within 25 feet of the limit of disturbance.
Okay. And as far as the lining of trees that is going to be removed, is that due to grading, or they just want to extend their backyard?
I believe they're looking to extend their backyard and then just give some space for the remaining trees to fill in and grow in. That lot they recently purchased the lot and are looking to just clean it up and bring it back to life.
Yeah, Seth, when we visited the site, the explanation was that they wanted to clear some of the backyard, but they also wanted to leave the far back in its pristine, natural way. So that, I just wanted to say that was the intention, I think.
Understood, okay. And we did do a site visit, right? Were
Yeah,
there
we
any
did
other thoughts?
I think our feeling was that this should come before the full commission just because of the number of trees that are being taken, and also the properties, it's a big overgrown property, so.
Agree. I'm leaning towards, we definitely need that hazard tree report, and, we need the invasives included in the count, which I think you said they were, but ash trees could be removed, and then obviously that would affect your table. And I would recommend, just with the amount of, differentiating trees and things, add a couple of columns to that table just to indicate the the number of ashes and, you know, hazards that are a part of this project, I think, just to be very clear. And with that said, you know, I personally, I think we should push this off to the next meeting until we get all of those details in-house and we're able to review them.
Could we make a motion to approve with just conditions of approval?
Public comment or owners? Okay, great. Yes.
My name is Brendan Riley. I'm the manager of the LLC that owns it. And I have Marielle Drennan, who's with Champion Tree. So she's the arborist who commissioned the study. So I thought maybe we could give some color. She can give some color on the species that you requested. And if the board was comfortable, if we could maybe work towards getting an approval that was conditioned upon submitting the additional information requested rather than waiting another month to come in front of the board.
Understood. Yeah, let's hear some details that you have. That would be great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Marielle, thanks for having me. So, two of the trees that are dead, are fully dead, are ash trees, these two here. So my understanding is with Radnor Township, if it's a dead ash tree, you don't need a hazardous permit. So that should be excluded. The one other declining tree that he mentioned is an amur cork. So I don't happen to know whether amur cork is on your invasive list that should stay or should go, but it is listed as a Pennsylvania invasive species on our government website. All the
I know-
other invasive.
Excuse me,
oh,
I know, talking to John Hosback, who is our arborist, he finds the cork to be invasive, and
Okay.
he would recommend that it go.
Okay, so all the other trees that are on this invasive total count, none of them are living ash trees. They're all amur cork with the exception of one Norway maple tree.
Okay.
So I don't think we need to fill out the hazardous tree removal only because they're both standing dead ash trees. And then with the declining amur cork, if that's invasive anyway, then that might fall under the invasive.
Well, so although, yes, John considers them invasive to remove, they still wouldn't be excluded from our total counts. Out of the invasives, are they, any of them hazardous, or they're healthy live trees?
The one here is declining relatively rapidly. I would give it maybe another year.
What species is that?
That's the amur cork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
The others are,
She's,
most of these small DBH trees in
what
here.
size is the other one? The third one?
The amur cork,
Yeah.
12 DBH.
Okay. Thanks, Ricky.
And then the others, no, are in fine condition. They're in this grouping here and also along here, except for the Norway maple, which is right here.
Okay.
Yep.
So Seth, I don't remember ever saying we don't need a hazardous tree report.
Correct, right.
So
We need it.
I think we need a hazardous tree report.
We need it regardless, yeah. Whether, it doesn't matter if the tree's invasive, native, or what have you. We definitely need that report.
Or if it's dead already?
Yep, if
Okay.
it's totally dead, if it's in decline, so any sort of tree that you would like to remove that's in a hazardous condition to exclude from the replacement formula that we have.
Okay.
The form's pretty straightforward. It's a one-pager, provides some pictures. Our township arborist reviews it just to verify.
Just for my own knowledge, but that's just because we want it excluded from this list. If you're an operating arborist with a township, because I think I've called in the past and said we're removing a dead ash and then we haven't had to fill out the hazardous tree report?
So ash is one of the exceptions.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's just because we're here for this table. Okay, got it. So that would be, I would submit 3 separate reports for each of those 3 trees?
It's one report.
Okay.
And you just detail out, all of the trees involved.
Okay.
You know,
Is there any other information we can provide tonight that, again, we're, just to kind of give you some context on this property. So the home was built in 1930. I'm blanking on the gentleman who originally built it, but he was actually the first president of the Radnor Historical Society. We're really this home, I don't know if, I mean, I know 3 of the members have been there, but it probably fell into disrepair about 30 years ago. So the area here that we're removing is actually an asphalt driveway. It's not a patio. There was a drive-through. For today's cars, it doesn't work, but really, we're not doing much to the property in terms of expanding it. It's much more of just a renovation project. And in terms of the back here, as you can see in the back, the grade does fall a lot. So what we're trying to do is create somewhat of a usable backyard and get some sunshine in there, because right now it's extremely overgrown.
Understood. I know that there's, the project itself, renovation, driveway removal, but it is a fair amount of trees, in our eyes. So, does anyone else have any thoughts on contingency, or let's get the details?
I'd be willing to consider it on contingencies.
Okay. There are no heritage trees, so that's good as far as being removed. But we definitely need the hazard tree report and photos, and make sure, get photos and everything else, obviously, before any trees are taken down, in addition to making sure you get the permits issued, of course.
And then just confirming the sort of fee in lieu calculation.
Yeah, so as far as replanting any trees, it seems as if none are proposed. It would all be fee in lieu of?
I mean, that would be the plan right now.
Okay.
The front yard is overgrown, not just trees, it's brush, and it's hard to tell. There's a fair amount of grade drop from the street up until the yard flattens out. So until we get into some of the work, it's hard to tell what it's going to look like. But if the property would benefit from trees in the front to enhance the landscaping, we certainly wouldn't be opposed to doing that.
Okay. That would be something that, we would need to figure out sooner than later, obviously, because the fee in lieu of is
Yeah, and
contingent
if we have
upon
to
that.
pay the fee and we decide to plant trees, that's,
Understood,
So be it.
okay.
Sorry, quick question.
Sure.
Just clarification on the drawing. The lot to the left, who owns that?
we own that as well.
Okay, it wasn't, yeah, okay.
Sorry, that's a vacant parcel, so we don't have, there's no sewer EDU there, so we're working through getting an EDU there first. There's no proposed subdivision there's 2 parcels there already. We're not doing any further subdivision, so we're working on obtaining the EDU. But because of the financial investment, it made sense to move forward with renovating the existing home and working towards selling that, and then working on the vacant parcel.
Okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't like a mistake that,
No,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
we'll be back in front of you in a couple months.
So just a quick rehash, the total number of trees to be removed, that 23, that does include all trees, or it excludes the hazards? Just to recap.
The 23 excludes the hazards.
Okay. The hazards and the invasives, that
It includes the invasives.
includes, okay. So it's just, there's 3 hazards.
Includes the 2 standing dead ash and the 1 severely declining amur cork.
Understood, okay. So that 23 count is accurate. Total required replacement is 25, so that's what the fee in lieu of would be. So it would be 25 times 250 is what the total would be. And then what we do with that money is we take it and replant trees,
Actually got the
elsewhere in
email
the
today.
township.
Seth, could I
yes.
ask a question? With everything that the resident is proposing, when would they be able to have the hazardous tree report filled out and submitted?
This evening?
Okay,
Yeah, we can do it quick.
okay. Do you have photos of the? Okay, awesome. Okay. I think I'm comfortable with this. If there were any heritage trees, I think we, possibly want to sit on this a bit, but I understand winter is coming, and you guys probably want to get moving on this. So before I make a motion, any public comment? No one? Okay, I will make a motion contingent upon getting the hazard tree report to approve the plan. And if we could just also update the plans and resubmit to the township to indicate the hazards, and also in addition to the report itself. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
I was just wondering.
All right. Do we have anyone from 547 Brandy Mead with us this evening? Good evening. So we have a pool project, 350 cubic yards of dirt to be taken off-site, 1 tree to be removed. Hi.
I don't know if you prefer a handheld mic.
Thank you, Ian.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Newton. I work for Carrington and Associates. I assist in preparing this plan. Okay, let me give you a little history. The lot's about 35,000 square feet. Has an existing one-story single-family residence on there. 2 driveways, one which will be removed, the other one will be improved. As far as trees are concerned, we are removing 1 pine tree. It's 18-inch in diameter. I don't know the specific type at this point. Proposed is they're going to expand the dwelling by 1,000 square feet, plus or minus. They're going to add some decks, walkways, swimming pool, improve the driveway that access Brandy Mead Road, and provide some stormwater system at the corner of Windhaven Road and Brandy Mead.
Great. Thank you for that overview. And I see you have the tree protection indicated.
Correct.
And as far as access to the site, looks like from the street and the driveway. Is that correct?
That is correct. We would access from Brandy Mead Road up their driveway that will ultimately be reconstructed to the north side of the property.
Okay. And where the pool is, it looks like there's quite a large tree there currently.
Correct.
As far as grading is concerned, is that going to be dropped at all or leveled out for the pool?
To protect that tree, it's a 36-inch, and that's easy for me to say, a 36-inch sycamore. I put in a small retaining wall to the rear of the pool. The retaining wall's there for 2 reasons. One, allows me to design a stormwater system because behind that sycamore, it's all uphill. And that protects that particular tree. And the objective during the design phase was to protect that tree.
Understood. Okay. Yeah, I would just suggest, as you're building the retaining wall, if you hit any roots, obviously, pay close attention to that and call in an arborist for any recommendations to make sure that tree stays nice and healthy.
Okay. I'll add a note to the plan relative to that.
Thank you. And the stormwater basin, there's a couple of trees that look like are surrounding that. So similar story there.
Okay. I tried to miss those trees. That's why I have the funky conveyance system.
Yep.
That was the whole reason for that.
Yeah, it looks like.
But I could add a note,
Yeah, it looks like it's
saying to
nestled in
protect
there
them about the
pretty well.
roots and so forth.
Sounds good. Any other comments, questions? All right. Any public comment? No? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? All right. Thank you for all the
Thank
detail.
you very much.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Care.
So that takes us through the grading permits. We'll move into old business. So first and foremost, our fall planting update. So this past Monday, the BOC approved our 2 resolutions. One was for the purchase of trees, and then the second was for the tree maintenance pilot. But first on the fall planting update. So registration, I had Molly send out today officially. We're a few hours in and already up to 89 registrants. So similar to the spring, we'll probably be all booked up by tomorrow morning. I'll leave the registration open until we hit 150 people, just so we have extras for those who. We could stop at 100, but if we've had a few cancellations or
How do you cancel? if you
changes of
No
your
longer can be.
reach out. So in the coming week or two, once we close registration, I'll send an email out to everyone who is registered just to give them details of when things are happening. And in that email, we'll say, if you changed your mind or have any questions, just to reply back. What are you thinking, Frank? Yeah, I think I closed it previously at like 120. I don't have to do 150. I could do close it at 120.
Aren't we doing 50 in the parks?
We are.
Okay.
Yep. But we need some extras just in case if people cancel. That's all.
Is a resident allowed to just accept the tree and plant it themselves? My question is whether a resident is allowed to just plant the tree themselves, or does it have to be planted by the crew?
Well, it has to be, per our agreement with PHS, it has to be a supervised planting by a tree tender. So one could arrange this, but it hasn't happened ever in the past. So if you want to plant a tree, come to the park and help us plant trees.
I'll tell my neighbor who asked the question.
Sounds
Said
good.
that.
And then as far as volunteers are concerned, so we currently have 15 registered. We will have Molly send out a specific call for volunteers, likely at some point next week. I know Frank has his Accenture. He has reached out. But if you want to give us an update on volunteers, that would be great too.
Yeah, we have about, I think it's 16 people have signed up,
15.
15. We have about 10 to 15 Accenture people, 3 Shriner people, and Cabrini is going to give us some students that are getting extra credit for helping us plant. And we've had 2 last year, and they were very good. That's where we stand. I think we're going to need about 40 to 50 volunteers for the 50 trees. We've been pretty much in a 1-to-1. We had 25 volunteers to plant 20 trees at Harford. So
We do have Shriner as well. He's sending guys.
he's sending 3.
Yep. But that's like basically 10 people.
Yeah, I know. That's what Steve says. Anyway, so it's going to be a lot of volunteers required, and that includes site captains like Sarah that we've had in the past. So I guess where I'm going on this is I'd like to get that volunteer advertisement out sooner than later.
Yep.
On the township website and social media, as opposed to waiting a week.
What about Monday? That's less than a week.
Monday sounds great.
I know Frank and I are going to have a conversation after this meeting.
Most kids won't be home yet until the 19th, right? Right before Thanksgiving. That's the week, Sunday
Yeah.
before Thanksgiving.
Yes, well, right, exactly. That is when the park planting is, the 19th, correct? So we've got
The
3.5 weeks, so I think.
The other contextual sort of
Mhm.
thing, it's one park, even though it's Beau Connor and Philippone Park, they're right next to one another. We're going to have a maintenance project performed before the 18th, so that we're going to have a lot of cleared area. We might have a lot of roots to encounter, but I understand through Seth that James is going to be using his little digger
Surprise, Ricky. I did speak with James. He offered to bring his Bobcat, if that's okay.
If you plan on putting equipment in the ground, we'd have to do a call in to make sure there's no
Sure.
lines or
Okay.
anything. So, I mean, if that is the plan, just, that week of, we'll get that area. I mean, I'll get it checked out. We'll put in a call to make sure everything's clear and there's nothing in the way for anybody to hit.
Would there
Sounds
be
good.
things in a park, Ricky? Or you
Weirdest
just don't know?
places, I mean, I would say no, but there's bathrooms there. It's right off the creek, like who knows what's in
Okay.
there, but
Right.
just to be safe.
Yep.
Understood, understood.
Thanks, Ricky. Sorry I didn't give you a heads up.
So what are we doing about water? I mean, are we going to have those buckets
We have-
again, Ricky?
We have 2 bathrooms.
No, I mean, for, watering the
Yeah,
trees. Oh,
We have 2 bathrooms that have spigots on the outside.
oh, okay,
And the
great.
bathrooms are going to be winterized after we do our planting.
Okay,
So we have 2 bathrooms for the people and also for water in the buckets for the trees.
okay,
And we happen to have a creek there,
right.
so
But-
dipping a bucket in the creek should not be any problem
I
for
have to
getting
bring my
water.
wellies.
So we should be in good shape for bathrooms and water.
Okay,
And just to touch on the tree maintenance real quick while we're on the subject. So resolution passed for executive tree care to be the contractor to do the work. I know Ricky's been working with executive and Doug to get things scheduled. So we did get the head nod that they'll be able to be in there and get that wrapped up before we plant on the 19th. John Hosback will help oversee along with Ricky and whoever else. But Ricky, did you want to provide any other flavor or color to that?
No, I think you covered everything. I do have a question about James bringing his machine over there. I'm assuming that all of these 50 holes, these locations are already going to be staked ahead, or are they going to be?
Yeah, well,
I talked to John Hosbach yesterday, and we reviewed using Google Earth where the trees would go, but it's that little triangle in the floodplain between, on either side of Little Darby Creek. And what we talked about is Steve, John, and I will go out and flag the area. There will be a flag or a stake in the ground for all 50 trees.
And he's going to dig 50 holes?
so James brought his Bobcat to Hartford during the spring. He didn't dig all 50 holes. He dug maybe like half the holes, maybe. And they were primarily the ones that were kind of in the woods. So we'll talk about it.
Ricky doesn't like that idea.
The concern that I have, and the concern that I had was that it's 50 trees in the parks, and that's 2.5 times as much as we've done in the past. And I don't have a lot of volunteers at this instant in time. And while I shouldn't worry, according to some people, that the volunteers will come, I'd like to have some Plan Bs in place so that if we don't have the volunteers and we are going to put the trees in, we've got some other ways of getting the holes dug and the trees planted. That's where this is coming from.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. The only thing I'm thinking is, let's just throw a wrench in this idea. I didn't know that he dug the holes at Hartford, and maybe it was said and I didn't catch it. But I guess my concern is, let's just say his machine gets broken from doing that.
We have him sign a waiver.
Do you?
Yeah.
But we can. Yeah.
Everyone that's volunteering at these places signs a waiver for Radnor Township and PHS.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but they're not bringing equipment, are they?
Right, does that cover equipment or just the
Yeah.
person?
What I would suggest is, if you need holes dug, let us do it. We'll dig the holes. If they're already staked, I would rather do that just so, those machines are expensive, and anything happens, I'd rather it be on the township than a private, person or company, even though he is licensed to do it, to
Sure.
work in a township. I'd rather the township bear the brunt of whatever's going to happen if something were to go wrong. it would just be an interesting predicament to try to sort out. And I don't feel like we have to go that route, since we have equipment, and it's just all we need is somebody to have the hole staked, and you tell us how many, and we'll have them dug to however you want us to do, especially since executive is gonna be there way before to get everything cleared, if that's, okay with you. I'd just rather keep it between, Township doing the work and digging, and things like that. And
Fine with us.
That-
All good.
Thank you for doing that. I do feel guilty about putting more work on you. But again, this is a Plan B. If we get 50 volunteers, we're not going to need your guys to dig holes or James to dig holes. So
I mean,
this-
even
this
if
is
you
really
want, even if you do get to 50, Frank, like, please feel free. I mean, that 50 holes and everybody has to backfill, that's still a lot of work to backfill and water the trees, as is. So all we do is dig the holes, so it'd be right there, and, all the volunteers still have to stake, bury, water, so there'd still be a lot to do. And like you said, we might not be able to dig all 50 just for the sake of, there'd be some that you'd have to do, but it's not a problem at all. The machine would be doing the digging, so our backs would be okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ricky.
So I have a question, still on the fall planting. So
Mhm.
Seth, do we have any, so I'm thinking I need to go and figure out the food. Chris and I are going to figure out the food if we don't hear from DeBruno Brothers by Friday, I think we're going to just go ahead and order the food from Wegmans. So I'm going to
Yep.
base it on 40 volunteers, unless you guys tell us differently tonight. We'll buy food for 40 volunteers, breakfast, unless DeBruno's comes through,
Mm-hmm.
and lunch. But my question is there a certain allotted budget to throw at this food? Or should we
No, I
get
think
gourmet
what,
food and go carte blanche? you know?
yes,
I was gonna do the Chick-fil-A tray. We have that.
love that idea.
Yeah, so.
So two things. One is, I know we've ended up with a lot of food left over from prior plantings. So instead of 40 people, I'm almost thinking 30 people. Because here's what happens is, not everyone grabs breakfast because, we're
Yeah.
introducing everything and giving instructions, and then some people grab the breakfast food at lunch or whatever. So my thought is, enough for 30.
That
But it's
makes
kind of hard to
sense.
tell until we get the final volunteer count at the same time.
Well, I guess we could hold off.
So
I
maybe,
feel like a week before is cutting it a little bit close.
oh, yeah, no, I mean, we have 3 weeks or so, right? So what I would say is, so it sounds like Wegmans and Chick-fil-A, so breakfast and lunch will be from,
No, DeBruno's was going to volunteer
Okay.
breakfast, hopefully. We were
Understood.
going to get lunch from Wegmans.
okay,
And Chick-fil-A is lunch.
And you're going to, yeah, so we don't need as much from Wegmans if you're going to bring Chick-fil-A.
okay. So what I would say is this, if you could just follow up or call those folks and say, how much advance notice do you need, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever. That way we know, at that point, we'll give the final count. And as far as budget is concerned, we have the budget to spend what we need to, as long as it's
Okay.
not over, I think previously we've spent $300-400
Yeah.
without issue, so
Okay.
we should be okay
so
there.
Thanks for the guidance.
Yep.
And do we have a date yet for putting stakes in for the residents?
Let's wrap up the park stuff, and then we'll loop back around to the
Okay.
resident planting, because that's on the list. But as far as the park planting is concerned, so we covered staking, we covered food, we covered equipment. We do have our purchased equipment that we got last year, and we've been using. Steve Ledgerton did mention if we need some more shovels or whatever, that will be
Yeah.
covered.
And
Ricky,
just
what do
if I could jump in
Sure.
to add to that list of inventory.
Mhm.
For any of the projects that, Shade Tree might have, or even if you have some other cleanup initiatives, Villanova did a cleanup at West Wayne Cemetery, and they purchased loppers, digging shovels, all sorts of tools, and they basically donated them to the township.
Oh, that's
So they're
fantastic.
Public Works,
Good.
we keep them in a locker locked up. So if you do need additional stuff, we do have it, and they're like, it's the township. So We
Awesome.
don't need them, so just to let you know, if you do need anything extra, we do have them there. I can give you a list of what it is, so you'll know what you have at your disposal.
Great, thank you, Ricky.
You're welcome.
That's great. I'm just running through the list. Frank, did we miss anything on the parks?
No, not really.
Or park, I should say. Okay. So we can shift gears to the resident planning. So we should have registration filled up in the next couple of days. So what we had discussed previously, I'll start out with the staking. So traditionally, we've been doing it up to about 3 weeks before, but we've learned that doing it a week or 2 weekends before is most ideal because of, if someone has lawn service or whatever, the stakes can get tossed around. So my goal is, so we pick up the trees on the 16th, I think it was, Frank, is that right?
16th.
Yep.
Thursday, the 16th.
Thursday the 16th. So the weekends that we have available to stake, you can definitely stake during the weeks, but we've been doing the weekends only because most people are home during the weekends, and it's a lot easier to get somebody. So if we close registration by the end of this week, get through Halloween, all that fun stuff, and then I will work on assigning folks staking. Let's chat now who's willing to help stake, and then that'll give us the count. So I'm more than happy to help go around and stake. Kristen, stake, okay. Thank you, Jenny. So that's 3. Frank, 4, okay. Yeah, I'll help with a few. Okay, so between the 100 that we have, if we have like 5 or 6 folks, that'll be about 20 addresses each. It's not too bad. So that'll give us 2 weekends to do that. The weekend of the 4th and then the weekend of the 11th.
One thing we're going to have to do at the end of all this is provide locations to PHS. And I've been doing that with a glass of scotch and Google Earth after the fact, which isn't very accurate. And I think they caught us over at the Willows that I had different species in different holes. So when we're putting stakes in, if there's any way that we could actually capture the GPS location of that stake, we'll know. How do we do that? Latitude and longitude? Yeah, I know what it is. Oh, you're the
You know
map
what?
person.
Right? You just send a pin.
Or, I mean, you could take a picture. That'd be a lot of,
You also can just write it down from your phone. You know?
well, the picture would be a good indicator, plus it's also, unless you specifically turned it off, has the coordinates of where you took it. So we could do it that way.
Well, if you do it with a picture, I'm still going to have my scotch. So,
Well, I
because I'm going to
think
have to sit in front of
it's
Google
true.
Earth and figure out what the latitude and longitude is.
I gotcha.
If you can use an app to get the latitude and longitude, you're saving me a step.
So let's think on that, because I know the PHS app that we had discussed when we met with them at the Willows, we could theoretically all get access to that, right?
Yes.
And drop pins ourselves.
That's true.
So let's look into that and see if we can
I'll
make
call,
that happen.
I'll call Chalet tomorrow.
Great. Sounds like a plan. And species this year will be 1,000 times easier because during registration, you pick the specific tree. It's our first time doing that. I finally spent the time to figure that out. So we won't have, over-allocated species left over, whatever. Everybody should get the tree that they signed up for, which is good. And so staking, species, as far as who's planting what. So I'd sent an email around a couple of weeks ago now, but so we've got everyone committed to who's planting what. So as far as the resident trees are concerned, So 15 being planted by Public Works, 15 to be planted by Rockwell and John Hosback, 20 to be planted by Executive Tree Care, so those are all volunteers, and then 50 trees to be planted by Tree Authority. Reached out to Hassan, he was grateful to help again. We got their invoice, and it's under the amount to have in front of the BOC, so I think that invoice is all square, right? Probably just need to get a head nod from Bill White and should be good.
The requisition has been entered. We're waiting for approval.
Thank you, thank you.
The check will be drawn on November 1st, possibly.
Great, thank you for that update, Leah. Awesome. And I think that's really it. And I'll send around, so in the spring and last fall, I'm starting to standardize on like when and what I send around via email to the people that have registered. So care instructions before and then after planting, giving them a heads up that, you know, this is the week that people are coming around to plant. So I think we have all of that locked. We don't have to really review that in too much detail, but I'll be taking care of that part of it. And another successful planting. Be here soon enough. Any other thoughts, questions? Make sense? All right.
Your son goes to Radnor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Maybe he can drop something off somewhere and they can make an announcement to try to get some more volunteers. Just high school kids. Right?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, okay.
I'll have them do that. Put them to work.
Yeah, I like doing that.
Yeah. Great. So fall planting, talked about. Tree maintenance, talked about. Any other old business that anyone wants to cover? Oh, Jim Riley did provide the update. Jen Santoro was interviewed on Monday, but she cannot be appointed until the next BOC meeting, so that's when they will vote on it. So hopefully we will have no issue there, and we'll have a new member joining us soon enough. And new business, anyone have anything else to chat about? All good. Hazardous trees, so looks like there were a few. Ricky, you want to provide a quick update?
Yes, everything here checked out. It was reviewed by the Township arborist, and it was removed. The hazardous reports were sent in and completed and approved. No issues.
Great, thank you. And trees removed by Radnor Township?
This was the same. Most of these were notified by residents, and we went out and inspected. Steve Ledgerson and also had John Hosbeck come in and verify. I will touch on a couple. I think the second one, Hartford Park, probably a year ago, that 50-inch ash, it was already starting to decline, so we tried to prune it in hopes of at least buying some more time, because it is a historical and staple tree at that park. But of course, we didn't catch it in time, and it wound up dying. So what we plan to do after having it removed is we do plan on planting something else there. So we have to work with John to see what we're going to put in its place. But that tree will have a replacement. Then if I drop down to Ditmar Park, we had a call come in from a resident. Trying to remember the development that is behind Ditmar, Ravenscliff. Thank you, Ms. Leah. And they were getting tree branches that were falling into their backyards. Some of the trees were already starting to decline. So we had John Hosbeck go out, and he assessed the trees. And, we had to take a bid because of how much it came out to, and it was awarded, of course, to the lowest bidder. And that work has been completed. Residents are happy, so that's where that stands. And the last one I would like to, turn your attention to is the 214 Windermere, those two trees that were there. I mean, you see the sizes that were mentioned there. I mean, those trees was, again, brought to our attention by a resident. We had John go out and have a look. And I think what's left there is the stumps have to be ground out. It was in pretty bad shape with the sidewalks. So in order for the resident to be able to fix the sidewalk, the stumps have to be removed so that the blocks are able to sit back down and they could have new sidewalks put in. But everything was, on the up and up. It was reviewed. And again, that the one area where there is a planting is Hartford at this time.
Great, thank you for that update, Ricky. All right, any public participation? Sarah, mic is yours.
Good evening. Sarah Pilling, 29 Garrett Avenue. Lived there for 41 years, so for 41 years I've walked at what is now called Tennell Park. It was a field, it was Converse Field. So there's a long history with this park. There is now a monopole of the largest tree in the park, which is a black oak series, which I talked to Ricky about it and hoping that when they take it down, I'll be around, which I am most of the time, to count the rings. It is a big tree. I would very much request another tree to be planted. Not exactly sure where in that upper portion, and I don't remember whether Mrs. Walker owned the land where that tree was, or still remnant of, or whether it was part of John Converse's field because they were adjacent, and the township bought Mrs. Walker's property the second time go around. It was going to be a housing development of 6 townhouses on 1 acre. Fortunately, the township saw fitting to buy it, but they paid about 4 times, 6 times as much as what Mrs. Walker's property was supposed to be. But if we don't have street trees on Garrett Avenue because we're very small. And so we really need another tree, really for the tree canopy for the 21st century and climate change. So I'm requesting that this be on your calendar to plant.
Will do. I will take note of that. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Sarah? I just remember when you had come that one time and suggested the goats to do the clearing. I don't know if you were here when we discussed it, but we contacted, I think, maybe 7 different places, companies, and we were not successful. Either they're not doing it anymore, or it was too far. But we still think it's a great idea, so if you ever hear of anyone who does it, please.
I will keep my ear to the ground. I'm sure that one or more firms in Chester County is doing it.
We couldn't find any.
Google search.
I contacted 5 different.
Okay, well, I have a spy in Chester County. I will do my best to find someone for you, because it is the answer, particularly at the Willows. They would take down all that grass in about 3 days. Yes, yes. And it's good fertilizer. Right.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to close the loop with you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Anyone have anything else before we close? All right. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.